This week we have Greg back from India, some very exciting product announcements, and of course, a special libation. Let's get started. Welcome to Life or Talk episode 8.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
For those of you who have been watching, episode 6, we had a special guest, Nick Smith, who a student at UCSD, went over how he uses LifeSpace with his classes. Episode 7, which Greg took LifeSpace on the road, which we're going to definitely get into.
Chandigarh, India.
And that is a perfect transition into this episode. We have to absolutely start with, where'd you go? And tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I went to Chandigarh, India. It was, of course, quite an adventure as always. I've been there a few times before, so it wasn't new to me, but every time I do that 30-hour trek, it's a crazy, crazy experience. Sometimes I split it in half and stop halfway and stay overnight somewhere, but this time I powered straight through 3 different flights, 15 hours to Dubai, 3 hours to Delhi, and then an hour to Chandigarh. So with lots of time in the middle at the airport. So 30 hours to see my great team over in India, the developers who are crushing it over there, and it was great to be with them for the week.
I live in San Diego, and flying to Vegas is tough, so I can't imagine.
Yes.
But, so a couple things. One, I can give you kudos because you actually made time for the gym. So very impressive with quite an agenda out there. I do want to know a little bit more, and this is another perfect segue, the libations out there. I know you as a whiskey drinker, which this week will be High West whiskey, double rye, recommended by Greg,
Yeah,
highly
it's
recommended.
actually really good, actually.
And we're enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah, delicious.
What did you drink out there?
Actually, they didn't have whiskey. They didn't have American whiskey so much. And when they did, it was too much money and not, the kind that we like.
Mm-hmm.
So they have Scotch. They're big Scotch fans over there. I think it's the English influence over there. And so we had different Scotches, and I had the Johnny Walker. That seemed to be the go-to whiskey. But I also had all the Glens. So lots of Glens, all 15-year, and it's a beautiful thing when you pay $4 for a 15-year Scotch. And so India, you definitely have an advantage with the great Scotch for very little.
And the dosa. Right?
And the dosa, of course. So that's
Greg actually introduced me to dosa. That's why I bring up.
Dosa is amazing. It's what I eat every day. It's my breakfast every day. So it gets me going, and it's actually a southern Indian dish, but dosa is, from the south, but at the Marriott that I stay at, they have the southern, northern, so they have all the food there. They have American food, eggs.
And you managed to actually get the chaotic streets to honk for LifeSpace. That was very impressive.
Yes, I did.
For those of you who, if you don't know, go back and watch episode 7 because you'll know what I'm talking about.
Indians don't usually honk. So it was really amazing when I got them all to honk for LifeSpace.
It's such chaos too. The way you just had them all come in was pretty impressive.
Actually, the honk is the hello in India, and so they, for some reason, love their horns, and they're all over it. So
nice.
Honk, they honk to say hello. They honk to say goodbye, and when they drive like 7 cars in a 3-lane highway, you got to honk to let people know you're coming by. So that's pretty much what's going on.
Doesn't honk matter at that
point?
Yeah,
the honk saves you. So it's when I'm in an Uber in India, and it's beautiful that they have Ubers. It's super easy to get to where you need to go. I just close my eyes half the time because it's like, it's scary, man. It's scary. They laugh at me, the team in India when I'm in the car with them.
Hold on for dear life.
Exactly. So,
all right, so it sounds like from when we personally talked offline, and obviously what you just mentioned, the planning that it takes to get there. Obviously, we kind of joked about the little chaos that was there, but all the stuff that took place for you to get there, the flights, the hotels, the itinerary, meeting with the team, I would obviously have to ask, did you use LifeSpace?
I did use LifeSpace. Actually, so when booking a trip to India, it's actually not very easy. So I used the trip space, and I was testing out our new templates that are coming, and I think we're going to be talking about that, the Space Wizard. And so I actually used that, and I loaded in the flights, the hotels. I used TripIt for like the airport and because I had an 8-hour layover. So
gotta find stuff to do.
You need a place to chill out and stuff at the airport, and so I used that app. But the beauty was I put everything into LifeSpace because when you get to India, you're basically you have to get past security there, and it's a little different here. And so you have to be able to get to your stuff quick. And so I found loading everything into LifeSpace, getting all my bookmarks ready to go there, having all my flight confirmations in there. It was a piece of cake to pull them up right through the app.
Yeah, and we recently just used it on a trip before. You're traveling Wilbury right now. We just used it when we traveled to Vegas for work. So as Greg alluded to, I think we have a big announcement about some 4 key features that are coming. So you've been with the team, and why don't you shout it to the world? I'm excited. So
we started working on the Wizard about 3 weeks ago, and that's actually coming out. I don't know, in a couple of days, really. First part of May, we're going to release that. It's going to be in both the desktop and the mobile. That's great news. The Wizard will let you, if you're brand new to LifeSpace, you're going to get kind of a blank screen, but now you'll have a prompt which will suggest kind of spaces that you might want to add. So in the Wizard, you'll have the event type spaces. So you might have a trip or a project, something that's like more time based. You also have these life categories like fitness or finance, the different areas of life. And then we have work categories, and we also have social or community categories. And so it's going to be an ever-growing library of wizards that will walk people through setting those up in various categories. We're going to give you some example links, to different tools that are great to do for each of those categories, but we're also going to have some default images and icons. So, when you set up your spaces, we really want you to, grab an image that means something to you, but in the meantime, why not grab from our library of images and just pull something up? So we have a library of images that we're going to include with each of the different space types. And so it's a pretty cool feature. So that's just the Wizard, and that's what we kind of were working on even prior to when I got there. But the big news is we're actually underway now on the tasks, notes, and chat.
Very exciting.
So that's where this app becomes an incredibly useful tool to manage your own life, to collaborate with other people, both personally and work.
Mm-hmm. You want to give an example of how a space that we collaborate on, or one that you collaborate with someone else, that could include all the features?
Yeah, I mean, the trip is obviously one. If you're traveling with someone, then you're going to want to maybe create a checklist of things you need to do in advance. So you'll use the task list or the checklist for that. You might want to just copy paste notes in, or type notes, as you're going, or when you get your confirmations and you just need the confirmation numbers in a note. So we're gonna have the notes there as well.
That's exciting.
And of course, chat. Everyone uses iMessage, or they use Telegram, or they use WhatsApp. So there's tons of chat apps. But if you try to use your Messages app on something that you need to reference later, you can never go back and find that message.
It's gone.
So things that actually require a little bit more disciplined storage and organization, you'll want to put those chats within our program and not try to do it on one giant iMessage stream, because you'll want to go back to your trip and just find things related to the trip. And so it's so much easier to have your chat segmented by these different spaces.
Yeah, and I've been blessed to kind of see behind the scenes what's already coming. So the Wizard, as Greg already said, wow, does that make it simple for new spaces? Just add it and you just follow the prompts. It really kind of takes the thinking out of it, makes it really simple and really exciting to just quickly add those things to LifeSpace that I wanted to, but maybe I was a little lazy, but boom, I don't even have to add images. They already suggested links. I learned a little bit, like the link, the bookmark that Greg alluded to about the things that tell you in the airport. What's it called again? The one that you just...
What you talking about, Will?
What do you do? The one that Tammy suggested to you.
Oh, Trip It.
Trip It. See?
Okay.
Man, I'm glad someone's paying attention. The Trip It, like I didn't know that existed, honestly, but that is a really cool one. So if you have a layover, hopefully I never have a layover that long, but it really does allow you to learn. So the Wizard's great, and we all are using a process already, whether it be, I use iPhone notes and things like that, but to an extent, they start to get lost. And the more and more you add, specifically, like I look at spaces, as projects, collaboration pieces, and man, I'm telling you right now, as much as I'm trying to be organized on these other ones, when it's in one area, it is so much more efficient and makes space for what matters to me.
Absolutely.
So welcome back. I have the dates here, so I'm gonna use some cheats here just to kind of reiterate. So next week we got new Space Wizard coming. So next week, that's by the time you're watching this and we edit it, it's going to be here.
That was a knock on wood for those.
Templates, the templates for the 20 plus spaces, and that was what Greg alluded to. The library of images, so it makes it very simple to add. Middle of May, we're going to have tasked notes, which I cannot wait for.
Yes. We're going to start on the desktop. So for the power users, we want you to start using our desktop product first, because when you're at work or when you're on the weekends, you're going to pull up your laptop and kind of really dive into different things that you're working on. And so we'll want you to use the desktop for that. Things are coming in the desktop first. The mobile will be 2-3 weeks behind on each of these milestones. So you want to get the desktop to be your power tool, and then the mobile is you're going to use on the road. And once everything is totally done, you're going to be working mobile, you're going to be working desktop, you're going to be on the cloud.
And a perfect example was your India trip. You built it on, you created your space and plugged everything in on the desktop, and then while you're on the road, it's there. I use my LifeSpace for that all the time. And then just to wrap up the timeline, middle of June will be chat. So before you know it, this is going to be, we're going to be rocking and rolling here. So.
Yeah, and then we'll do, we're going to kick back into the LifeSpace libations in mid-June once we have the platform solid on
Big
mobile and desktop.
Yeah.
And so then you guys will be able to come in and actually hang with us, learn how to use it, download it, get it set up, and start using it with legit projects and with legit spaces.
Too legit to quit.
Too legit to quit.
And good point about the LifeSpace Libations. Special thanks to all the beta users who came to the LifeSpace Libations. Yes. A lot of the feedback, obviously, a lot of this stuff is already on our roadmap, but to hear people with actual users who might not have drank the Kool-Aid so much, but are actually saying, we will use this product, we will benefit from these features if we get these, and that's what Greg and the team really took to. So very exciting stuff. TGIF, happy Friday.
Yes.
Cheers to High West Whiskey.
Yes,
and the big announcement at LifeSpace here. Good things to come, guys and gals. See you soon.
See ya.